there, everyone. Welcome to Cowboy Survival. I am Richard, and what we're going to do, we're going to take this hatchet that I've been working on. This is a $12 hatchet from Harbor Freight. I refinished the handle. I put a lanyard hole and put a leather stripped lanyard on this thing with a snake knot on it. I've also refinished the head and resharpened it. Ooh, that thing's sharp, gotta be careful. Took a chunk out of my thumb last week with this. Then I added some Flex Seal right here, a strip of Flex Seal that's about 2 inches wide. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to put some leather overstrike protection. It'll do two things. It'll hide that Flex Seal rubber, which just gives me some extra added bounce if I miss. But this leather will make it look a lot cooler than it currently looks. So I've got it cut the right length going down the handle from the head down the handle. What I've got to do next is I've got to stretch it and figure out exactly where I want it to meet in the back, so that so that when I sew it with a baseball stitch, it's going to look really cool along the spine of this thing. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to add leather overstrike protection to your hatchet. Okay, so I've got my hatchet and I've got my piece of leather. And what I want to do is I want to take this piece of leather and pull it as tight as I can so that I can sort of figure out where I need to cut this, so that when I get it done, I want this end and the other end to meet. So I've got way too much right now. So what I'm going to do is I overlapped this and I pulled it really tight, and I drew a line with my little razor right down here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut along that line, and that'll give me my first cut. Now that's not going to be my final cut, because after I do this, what I'm going to need to do is I am also going to need to cut about an extra 1/8 of an inch off of it. So I'm not going to cut exactly on that line. I'm actually going to make it a little bit short, because when I sew this, I want it to stretch together. So here we go. We're just going to cut this right here. And I'm trying to be really careful with this cut, because I've only got one other piece of leather. So if I mess this one up, I'm kind of up the creek. So let's see. I think this is going to be pretty good. So if I take this and I wrap this around now, wrap this around here, and I wrap it pretty tight. It still is. I still got it. I think I've got way too much here. Maybe not. Let me wrap this like this and see what I've got when I wrap it this way. I don't want it to actually meet. I want it to be about an 1/8 of an inch difference. So I've got it okay here. I think down the back it's okay. In the middle, okay, but I need to take a little bit more off of this edge, a little bit more off of this edge, so that it'll meet the contours of this. So we're going to just start shaving it just a little bit, not a lot, just a little, to see if I can make this difference look good, so I can actually start put my holes in it, and then I can do my my sewing. And I say I'm going to do this, in a little bit at a time. You can always take more off. You can't put it back on once you take it off. So let's see what I've got now. I take this and I wrap it around the back of this hatchet this way. I want this to be about in the middle. And I bring this up and around. As you can see, that's about right. So I'm going to have to center it, of course, because I still got a little bit too much up here at the top. So I'm going to take a little bit more off up at the top. Top is where it's the narrowest, you can see. It's fatter down here. So I got to take more off the top. So I got to have more of an angle up here at this end, where I'm going to be having the top of this toward the handle. And if I take a little too much off, it's okay, because again, I'm going to put holes in this and I'm going to stretch it. Okay, so I think I've got this about how I want it. Looks like that's going to be good right there. See, there's a little gap, which is going to be good, because when I put my holes in and I start sewing with my sinew, I think what it's going to do is it's going to hold that together really, really nicely. It's going to pull it nice and tight with the sinew without having it overlap. So for my holes, I'm going to use this little hole punch, and I'm going to put my holes probably right about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. I think that's probably going to be good. I don't want to do it too close to the edge, because it'll tear through. So about 1/4 of an inch. Now the way I space mine when I do this is I put the peg in the last hole, and then it'll keep them all nice and evenly spaced. Do the next, see, I do the next one just like it. Do the next one. So it'll, I hammered that one a little hard. Now, I've got one little hole down here at the bottom. I just need one more hole, so I'm gonna line 3 of these holes up, then push the last hole right in here. Now I gotta flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so I've got my threads in, and all I'm doing is just a little crisscross stitch back and forth. It's not really a true baseball stitch, but I think I'm okay with that. I'm just doing a little crisscross stitch all the way around. Every time I'm bringing down, I'm just tightening it down. Got to make sure and keep it pushed up tight here. I'm just going in and out of my holes, one after the other. Pulling it nice and tight every time I come through. Well, it doesn't take that long. Now I'm using a sinew type thread that I got at Hobby Lobby. It's not real sinew, but it's a sinew-like type of thread. It's waxed. It's going to hold up very well over time, I think. Which is one of the reasons I chose it. You see, it's tightening down nicely on this. I don't think it's going to come loose and slide off of here at all, because it is tight. It's tight and forming around the handle. I'm going to get to the bottom. We'll do a this little, let's see. I want to go in that stitch. I want to go in here. We're almost to the bottom here. Nice thing about this stuff being waxed is that it doesn't necessarily loosen right up. I don't know what this stuff is actually made of. It's kind of a nice thread that I've used before on other leather projects. I kind of like it. Whoops, did something here I don't like. Fix that. And as I get down here at the bottom, I will go through again. Well, that didn't do right. Didn't do right there. That happens. The other nice thing about this stuff is that it is really, really easy to put in one of these needles, because I can take it and I can flatten it out really well like that. I don't know if you can see that. And then it goes into my needle really, really easily. These are big eyes on these needles. You can see the eyes on these needles are really big. So I can put it through there extremely simply and easily. And this makes it a whole lot easier for me overall. So this one's got to go through here and up. This one's got to come through here and up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one down here at the bottom. where I'm going to go back through here on the other side. I'm actually going to go all the way through to the other one, pull that through, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to cross over, go through this hole, and hopefully up through the other hole. Here it comes. And this will make it a lot tighter down here at the bottom. And now what I can do is I can knot this off. And then when I knot it off, it will stay exactly where I've got it. Oh, let's take the needle off of that end. Okay, so we finished up the wrap on this, and so I put my leather on here. I showed you how I did that. I laced the back of it up. Now what I did down here at the bottom is I took the loose ends of my thread and I just hit them with a little lighter and then pressed it flat, so those will not come undone. They won't come back through those holes. So I'm really pleased with that, and you see how I did that. I'm really pleased how that's turned out. So I think the leather wrap on this is going to be really good for overstrike protection. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. In the meantime, stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day.